Play with Matches is back after a long hiatus, and Gabrielle's going to tell you exactly why we had that right now. Go.
Because I got sick, and this is what I sound like, so here we are.
She looks pretty, and she sounds sick.
Makeup is a magical thing, friends. But yeah, I had 102-degree fever last night.
How are you pacing right now?
I think I'm okay.
I think you're all right, too, dude.
We went to the pool. It was really hot out, but...
So
we're back.
We are going to talk about The Acolyte, which is this new Star Wars show.
Okay.
Which is absolutely peak woke and
awesome. Is it on Disney?
It's on Disney Plus.
Of course. Okay. Great.
The reason that we do not have Disney Plus
I know
is
the kids keep wanting to watch some of like the old Disney movies. I'm like, sorry. Like, although I wish I could show you these old movies that I love and were not woke and terrible, I refuse to give them money. So.
They pushed too far.
Too hard, too far.
So when I tell you, Gabrielle, about this show, okay? Like when I tell you about who Leslie Headland is.
I have no idea who that is.
She is the showrunner. It's her show,
awesome.
Right? Like she is the one who pitched it.
Oh, I've seen this girl.
Yeah. So
she's garbage.
Her backstory.
Oh Lord, that first photo tells me everything I need to know.
Her backstory is unreal. Okay. Where did she come up in the Hollywood scene? Just before I obviously tell, she's queer. She's of course queer.
Well, duh. You can't have people that work for Disney and run shows that are not.
Correct. But what did she do before she was running Disney?
I have no idea, and I can't wait to find out.
Harvey Weinstein's assistant.
Oh, shocker. Okay.
Harvey Weinstein's assistant.
It just gets better and better.
Speaking of which, why don't you guys go ahead and subscribe to the channel?
Yes, do that.
Because of Harvey Weinstein's assistant.
And maybe you can hear some videos where I don't sound like this.
Yeah. I don't know how I made that connection, but I just realized I forgot to ask. So go ahead and subscribe, or else I'm going to have you give a massage to a 52-year-old person who wants to grape you.
Blah.
What's hilarious about this, right, when you really think about it.
Just one thing.
Is like, what is it that, like, what do they stand for again? You know, like, what is it that they really stand for? They stand for feminism, okay?
But not like the kind of feminism that we like, because I consider myself a feminist, but I ain't that.
I mean, no, listen, like, it's really important that women are empowered, and me too, you know, me too.
That's what we were just saying, like so I replaced our kitchen faucet today and the lock on the front door, which the lock sounds easy, but it was like one of those weird, like digital crazy ones. And, like I was saying, Giselle was on the phone with her friends and she's like, who does this stuff around your house? And the girl's like, oh, my dad. And Giselle's like, my mom does it. Like my mom fixes everything. And I was saying to Jesse, like, I bring the kids in, I teach them all. Like my goal is to raise strong, confident, intelligent, independent women who like want a man, but don't need a man. And to me, that's feminism, not whatever bullshit they're spewing.
Well, but I mean, if you're not down to look the other way, while a very powerful Hollywood agent, you know, has you bring women up to your room that he's going to assault because you are on the right side of the left-right divide.
What a bad feminist.
Are you a real feminist?
Maybe,
you know?
In her brain.
Now here's her. I bet you. Yep, 2012. So this is back
when she was normal.
This is Harvey Weinstein. Hi, I'm with Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
Do I look like a slightly different person here?
Oh, completely.
Like I'm a different person.
She carries her face different. Obviously,
everything about me is different because now I'm queer. I'm this queer. It's laughable. These people are a fucking joke. Like, look at her now.
Because of being queer is cool. And it's like what you have to be to make it in Hollywood now. Which is so fucking
absolute nuts. Frauds. Okay. So anyway, she created The Acolyte. And in case you are not up to speed on current Disney Star Wars.
I am not.
Well,
thank God.
I mean, I'll give you the quick rundown, basically.
Wait. Well, I know a little bit. I know that the newer movies that came out, they like threw out the whole original feel of Star Wars and made it like woman-centric and just completely destroyed the entire franchise.
Basically,
that's what I know.
George Lucas sold to Disney.
Yeah.
The first movie they did, which was with J.J. Abrams, was excellent. I really enjoyed it. Some people will push back on that.
But I thought it was still working on it, right? at the time?
George Lucas was not, I don't think, but J.J. Abrams did it. And he's like, you know, it's just like a great action movie. You know, they basically did the Force.
Which one was that? Did I see it?
It was The Force Awakens.
I think I saw that.
Yeah. They did A New Hope, which is the original Star Wars. Basically, like they just did the exact same movie, but it was awesome.
Yeah.
You know, it was awesome.
Because it kept in theme with what Star Wars is.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'll tell a more nuanced story than I normally do.
Oh, I can't wait.
So they also did this movie called Rogue One, which it had a girl main character. That movie was excellent.
Yeah, I liked that.
That was really good. That was like a gritty Star Wars. I really enjoyed that movie.
I'm down for a female badass lead.
Yeah.
Like,
who's not?
Exactly.
As long as you're telling a good story.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, because I will always connect this back to her former boss, that all of this is happening back in 2016, right?
Not Weinstein.
Yes. Okay. Rogue One happened in 2016. Then they dropped, what's that one? In 2018, they did the second installment of the trilogy, and they threw everything out.
Yeah.
They did this woke, absolute trash bin sequel.
And it bombed, right?
And everybody annihilated it.
Yeah.
Annihilated it. And like basically they went to war with the fans of Star Wars.
Yeah.
So then they did the third movie and they tried really hard to like put all the pieces back together, and everybody annihilated that also. And basically it was like, it got to a point where it was like Star Wars was like, get rid of Kathleen Kennedy. Because Kathleen Kennedy was,
yes, I remember her.
She was George Lucas and Steven Spielberg's like assistant forever. Yeah. And she came in and ran the show. And she basically just stated, she's like, from now on, Star Wars is about the girls. Force is female. The Force is female. And you're like, why?
It never has been.
Why?
Why now?
No, I mean, like, there's always been, like, cool chick characters.
Like, the Force has been for everyone.
Yeah. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So, the trilogy, it's all, the main character is a girl.
Right.
Then, Rogue One, main character is a girl. Mm-hmm. And everyone's kind of like, okay, like, this is stupid. And also there's no like male characters who are heroic and do anything right. You know, it's like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
The guys exist just so they can prove how terrible and awful men are.
I mean, it didn't start like that, but it definitely is very clear that the only really virtuous, awesome characters are all girls, and the men are very flawed or weak or stupid. And it's like, once Kathleen Kennedy started getting attacked, it's like she went so hard all in. And so every single thing that they do is like, now it's just like, fuck you guys, okay? Fuck you fans. You don't like it?
It feels like Bud Light.
It's unreal. So every single show has been a female main character, except for they had The Mandalorian, which was a dude. And then in between the one show that everybody loved, and then between the third and fourth season, or the second and third season, they fucking axed The Mandalorian and put in a female Mandalorian to take over. It's like they just, it's literally like Kathleen Kennedy is at war with the fans. I'm telling you, like that behind the scenes.
People are so stupid.
No, she's so stupid. Like,
I mean, it has to go past other people too, right?
No, she's the ultimate boss of Star Wars. It's all she makes all this. She is the
Disney couldn't be like, no, change it.
No,
she doesn't have any bosses.
She has no boss, dude. She is the boss of Lucasfilm. The fact that she still has a job and has not been pushed out of Lucasfilm is absolutely unreal.
How?
She has driven that brand into the fucking ground.
And it's Star Wars.
And no one gives a fuck about Star Wars anymore, dude.
Yeah.
Except to clown on it. So the Acolyte is Leslie Headland is the queen woke. Like the biggest joke ever. Yeah. I'm queer and I'm here. Say it proud. Say it with me. And she does this show, The Acolyte, and every single bit of promotional stuff that they've done for this show, it's like, so tell us about the show. She's like, well, it's like a mix between Frozen and Kill Bill. And you're like,
I'm sorry.
Okay, that's a little bit weird, but like, what else? She's all, we're celebrating diversity. You know, it's about queers. It's about blacks. It's about women. It's about whatever. You're like,
what's the story?
And she's like, it's like a murder mystery. Anyway, so it finally launched. But I wanted to show you this just to put in context how crazy this is. Watch this little interview tidbit.
And again, that's how they started the PR campaign.
I would say arguably the gayest Star Wars, I think, by a considerable margin. And
not the gayest Star Wars. Not the.
It's pretty gay, let's be honest.
You can't look and see that Anakin blowing up the Death Star possibly killed millions and millions of people.
Is it the gayest Star Wars of all time? Yeah.
That was
Yes,
crazy.
it sure is. The gayest ever. And you're like, you do realize that your fans are in absolute, complete revolt, right? Like, you guys are aware of that.
I wonder, like, what is actually happening in their brains.
I know. That's that. So you know how I was like, let's film while I still have this profound
Yeah.
thought in my mind?
Oh, you have a thought. Okay.
Okay. So I've said the same thing, which is, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you doing? Okay. Now, Kathleen Kennedy, I know what she's doing. She's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. She is a vindictive bitch.
Yeah, she's just mad.
She's like, oh, you guys want me gone? Well, fuck you. Like, there have been these interviews, like there have been these times where it kind of like the mask comes off with Steven Spielberg and George Lucas. They're like, George Lucas is doing an interview with her and he's basically talking directly to her through them. He's like, it's like you think you're being a good person, but you're like not a good person, you know?
Yeah.
And then also when they did the Indiana Jones movie, they went up there and I think it's George Lucas, I don't know, somebody goes and they thanked like 5 people. They're all, we couldn't have done it without George. We couldn't have done it without, and she's up there with them. She's like the original score. They thanked everyone except Kathleen Kennedy. And you watch her just like, and you know, she's the president of the studio.
Yeah.
Like, there's no confusion. These guys know what she's doing and they're watching like, she is doing this on purpose. What the hell is she doing?
Yeah.
Because you're mad because you got their coffee for 100 years. Like, now, I mean, look at your life. Why are you mad?
Yeah.
So, anywho, so like, this is what they're doing.
Okay.
Clearly,
Clearly.
it is obvious that the fans are rejecting this,
Yeah.
right? I mean, like, full throttle rejection, and Disney is still doing this.
Yeah.
Well, Bob Iger, who's the president, CEO of Disney, he's like, we're getting away from this stuff. Can't, because they have so many projects that are already.
Right.
So what are like the underlings doing that are actually putting this stuff out? Like, do you think that they think that they're at war with someone? That's not what it is. This is what it is. In their worldview, like, they live in this little bubble, right? Where in their bubble, the idea of like men and women end up in families, they have children, they raise children, and then they live their lives. That's heteronormativity is the word that they use for it, which means that we live in a civilization where they have been outcasts because they're gay, okay? And so they've always felt like outsiders because all media only portrays heterosexual relationships. And so they're like,
Right.
so they really believe that there is a world where they are going to completely normalize this to the place where, like,
But it is normal. Like, no one has a problem with
Oh,
people
I know.
being gay. Like, yeah.
no, I know. But like, they think that what's happening, this pushback,
Yeah.
is like the last gasp of the old guard, and they're
Right.
going to outlast us. Like, they really think that. Like, they think that this is like, well, this is just these people that got brainwashed in this heteronormative way of thinking, and
Oh,
we're
you
just
mean
going
like the way that biology created human
Exactly.
beings?
That's exactly what I'm saying. They're like, we're just going to stay the course, and this is going to die out. We're
Yeah.
going to beat these guys. You're like, no, you're fucking not.
Yeah. Like,
You
we
absolutely
talk
are
about all the
not
time.
going to beat us.
0 issues with people being gay
Of course
or
not.
trans or whatever. I don't care. But like, in order for our friggin' species to procreate, there's a reason why men and women get together, have babies, and raise families. Like, you can't outlast that. That's evolution.
If there's a world in the future where science, you just like take genetic code from a dude and another dude and you make a baby. I mean, I can imagine a world where I'd be like, dude, I'd be kind of sick if I had a kid, like a genetic kid that was like me and fucking Conor McGregor
God.
and what, you know what I mean?
I can't wait for that to get clipped. Okay, go ahead.
I'm not having sex with any men. That's for goddamn sure. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like,
Yep.
if you could just take,
No,
and you could
just
take like
accept random
multiple, like take like
DNA and
multiple
choose-
DNA.
Yeah.
You're like, let's get Gabrielle, me, Connor. We'll get some. Who else is who's smart? Who's fucking smart? Like, it just whatever. But in the world we currently live in, where you create babies by having sex with men and women, guess what? You are the fucking outsiders. Okay, it's fine. Like, you do whatever you want.
Nobody
No
cares.
one cares. But if we are going to
But
like have a species going forward. You know who can't have kids? People who chop their dicks off. You know who else can't have kids? Girls scissoring each other for fun forever, and dudes pounding each other in their top shelf. Like that doesn't create children, okay? So that's fine.
Here's your anatomy lesson.
Do whatever you want. I don't care.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Scissor me timbers. Okay, like I don't care.
It's gotten to the point like with South Park having token. Like, you know, you got to have like the token black character. Now it feels like in everything you have to have like the token gay couple. Like there are like
no new shows.
None. Not a single new show that I have seen. And
except for Dark Matter, which is my new favorite show. That's all about heteronormative show. The whole show is about heteronormative love. You're going to hate it, you gays.
It's on Apple, right?
It's so good.
Yeah.
It is so fucking good. We'll talk about it later.
Can't wait.
But yeah, like, dude, I'm pretty sure that we have enough representation of homosexuality in current shows. Like, okay, I started this show on Netflix recently called Eric. Here's the plot. There's a dad who is kind of crazy. Him and his wife fight a lot. He's got a child. Child gets kidnapped. They think he killed him. And he is an alcoholic who kind of like is schizophrenic and is talking to an invisible person. Everyone thinks maybe he killed the kid. Whatever. Sounds like the kind of show that I actually wouldn't watch because I normally don't watch shows about kids getting kidnapped. But nonetheless, like it's like
a dark,
right.
Yeah.
Well, what it's actually about is a closet homosexual police officer who is going into the deep, dark depths of the 80s where all the homosexual men had to hide from other people because it was all a big lie. And then like this guy, it turns out this guy in the show, who's another big character, he's also a closet homosexual. And it's all happened because they couldn't share who they really were. And you know what? It's like, dude, like you can make a good show.
Yeah.
Without all that. And the idea that, you know, it's just, there's not that many of you guys.
Yes.
There's not that many.
The representation in programs has gotten to a point where it doesn't mimic reality.
There it is.
Yes.
Your way sounded much more eloquent than mine.
Thank you.
All right. Now, moving on.
After that rant.
Yeah. I feel like I want to do as a matter of fact, we are going to do a completely separate video about the new bill that the Democrats put up to take away Secret Service protection for convicted felons who...
Because there's been one in history.
And they put it on the Senate floor or they put it in Congress 6 weeks ago.
Wow.
These people are evil.
Anyone who still thinks this isn't all like planned out and staged and created.
Very much is. I watched a thing... Actually, let's just save it for another video. Okay, I want to tell you about Dark Matter.
Stand by for that later.
I want to tell you about Dark Matter and highly recommend this to anyone who listens to us. But I want to tell you about it because it's like the reason I want to tell you about it so I can tell you why I keep saying, man, I wish we were watching this together. Mm-hmm. So the plot of the show is it's this guy. He's very similar kind of to like Walter White at the beginning of Breaking Bad, where he's like a teacher who was a genius. Like he's a genius, but he's an underachiever.
He's working and living below his ability.
Exactly. Okay. Like, and he had this theory about, have you ever heard the like, I think it's physics, whatever, like the theory of the box where there's a cat in the box and it's both alive and dead at the same time?
Yes.
Okay. So it's all built around that theory, right? That they're the multiverse basically.
Yeah.
And so the plot basically is we live in a world where there are an infinite number of realities and they're all based on individual decisions.
Choices, yeah.
So it's like, if you made that choice, this, anyway. So the guy goes out, gets drunk. He gets held up. This is all in the very beginning of the show. Somebody puts a gun on him. They knock him out. He wakes up and he's in the same world.
Oh, like knock him out.
Not he injects him with something. Oh. And he wakes up. He's in the same exact world. Everything's the same, except everything's changed. Goes to his house, different girl there. Like he's this in this world. He is this super famous scientist. Everyone knows who he is. He's like the pinnacle of success.
Yeah.
But he's like, in his world, he has a wife and a kid. He's the most important thing to him is his family.
Yeah.
So when you get get down to the like nuts and bolts of like what is driving the show is his like, there's this moment where he made a choice whether to pursue science or make a family with his wife.
Yeah.
And one of them chose science and the other one chose the wife. And the one who chose science created this box where you can jump realities. There's a lot more to it than that. But the core of the show is that one comes back to this guy's life and steals his life and sends him,
he wants the family,
and sends him to the one where he's this wild success, thinking that he's doing the guy a favor. It's definitely not a fucking favor.
Yeah.
So what's so crazy about the show is it's like this thought exercise that I've done a million times about, you know how I always tell you, I'm like, man, I wish I could go back to the night we met, knowing everything, like this brain, like knowing everything that I know about you, and just see how that night goes. If I knew for sure, it wasn't just me like, oh my God, this girl, like I knew we were like genuinely meant to live our lives together. And it was like, and I go back to that original night, tell you everything about yourself to where you'd be like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
It's like that, except like kind of in this weird other way where he gets to see what happens, you know, like he finds his wife, obviously. He finds his wife in the other reality. And it's just like, it's so fucking good. Like it is so good. There's a million other things that I'm leaving out, but the core is that. And it's just like, I don't know, it just spins your brain in a million different directions. You're like, fuck, dude. Like
how each individual choice can lead to a completely different life.
Yes.
Yeah. I
And
think about that a lot too.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know. There's no, like, I can tell you right now, there's no amount of success that I would take if it was in exchange for like our family, for sure.
Same.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. I think we're pretty fortunate.
Yeah, dude.
Like in all the regards. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And like, I mean, there's certainly, see, I think like what I think about a lot too is like, I would say that I've proven, like, I don't think it's a theory to say that I was going to like make it doing content whenever I started doing content. Mm-hmm. But how old I am is like, dude, Facebook, like I was out of college when I first got Facebook. I wasn't even in fucking college anymore when I first got Facebook.
I was a sophomore because I was one of the original, like you need an EDU to be on it.
Yeah. And so like, I wasn't an early adopter of Instagram. I was like doing shit. Mm-hmm. And I think about that all the time. Like, because if the world existed like it does now, where like people make TikToks and they make Instagrams, I would have blown up in college for sure. For sure. I blew up when I was like a grown up. Like if I was the version of myself in college living that life and I had TikTok, dude, it's absolutely 100% inevitable that it would have happened.
But what would that have led to?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I think I would have been a very bad version of myself if I would have blown up like that
too early. Yeah.
Like a really bad version.
Yeah.
I would have grown up I would have had this very bizarre, very high opinion of myself and my intellect that was very
even
ignorant.
Higher than it is right now.
It would have been very ignorant though. Like, because I really think that you have to lose you have to like lose bad to like,
that's where growth happens. That's where
wisdom,
like, human evolution happens. Yeah, it's in the moments that you fall down and get back up. Like you see it with child stars all the time.
All of them are
stunted.
batshit.
It's the same thing like they say with drug addicts too. Like when you start doing drugs at a certain age, you get stunted. You're halted. Yeah. Like you don't evolve past that point. And it's all kind of the same thing, you know, when you're constantly fed that positive feedback loop, you have no reason to evolve or grow.
Yeah.
You grow from pain. You grow from wanting something else, something more. And if you don't have that, then you're stuck.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I was, dude, like what I valued back then was just like closing girls.
Money, drugs, and cars.
Yeah. Well, not really, like more walking in a room and people being like, damn. Mm-hmm. And like that would have expanded to like
That
a
explains
world
the bleach
stage.
blonde hair.
Like that would, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it would have
for
mattered to me
sure,
on a world
100%.
stage. Like it would have been important to me that on my brand that people
Yeah.
knew that I closed girls and I was real dangerous.
Yeah.
Like, and I would have made myself that at the expense of
Our beautiful little life.
like anything else that mattered.
Yeah.
And I would have just been like, I'm the one who figured all this shit out. I would have been like, I mean, actually, I'm not gonna say
You would
that
have
'cause I would've
convinced
been that
yourself that reality was like the one. That was the goal. That was the end game.
Yeah.
That you had achieved it.
And then I probably wouldn't have had kids. I mean, I don't know if I would have had kids.
I had to convince you to have kids.
Yeah. I can't like knowing what I know now, the fact that that there is even a fucking world where I would not have had kids is so insane to me.
Yeah.
Because I look at people who don't have kids and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
They just don't know.
They just don't know. That's what I'm saying. I mean, dude, look, like some people can't have kids, so I'm not
For
like,
sure.
and I've always said that it's like, if specific people don't be like, hey, are you gonna have fucking kids or like, are you gonna do whatever? I could just say that like, people who straight up choose their own freedom over children are fucking up. I'm telling you that right now. Not all of them, because some people are not like built for parenthood. But man, it's like
it's hard. I mean, being a parent isn't like super easy. Do you forego certain, things that you can do and certain freedoms? Like, yeah, absolutely. But there's something so incredible and indescribable about having your little people. Like, I wouldn't trade it for the world. Like, there's nothing in this earth that would make me go back and choose not to have kids.
Dude, I made the deal and I took it back.
I told Georgia today. She was like cuddling with me, and there was the photo came up in my memories, and it was just Genevieve and Giselle. She's like, was I alive yet? And I'm like, no. And Daddy told me he didn't want any more kids, but I pressured him into having a third. And she's like, he didn't want me. And I'm like, he didn't know that you were gonna be you. I was like, but he tells me all the time how having 3 was the best
For
decision.
100% sure.
Yeah.
For sure. 3, because it was me and my brother, so I
What
thought
you knew.
I thought 2 kids, but
And I
3
kind
is
of grew
the
up in
shit.
3, actually, now that, because I was an only child, but Julia and Maddie was a huge chunk of my childhood. And then when I stayed in this Karen, Alia, and Nessa, same thing. Like, I kind of always was in a group of 3, I guess, now that I.
And they're like, because they're like a little crew. Versus it just being you and like one other. Like, you can have weird shit with your one sibling, but like if you got 3 of them, it's like you guys are a fucking crew.
Everyone always has a person. Yeah. And our 3 girls, they're 11, 8, and 6, and they all sleep in the same room, which I think is
By
so
choice.
cute. By choice. We've got rooms for everybody to have their own room and room to spare, but they choose to sleep together because they want to be together.
All 3 of them could have
cute.
their own room, and we still would have 2 guest rooms. And they still, if you include, things, or 3 guest rooms if you include
The office,
both
the studio,
offices
and everything.
and another guest bedroom.
But they choose to all pile
They
into
choose.
a bunk bed together every night.
And our big threat to them is
They're in trouble.
we'll make
We'll
them
separate
sleep
you.
in their own, like we'll make you sleep in your own rooms. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Cracks
It's
me up.
hilarious, dude. But like, yeah, dude, it's crazy. Fucking Giselle, all her fucking friends are a year older than her now.
Yeah, we talked about this.
I don't love that, really. Like, I mean,
We'll see what happens when she switches schools next year.
yeah,
if
like
that
she's going into 7th
transfers.
grade. All her girl friends are going into 8th grade. Anyway, I don't really know what that's about, but that's probably enough for today. Anyway,
We'll see you next time.
see you guys next time. Sorry for the hiatus. Gabrielle was sick. so
Sorry.
love you guys. Bye.
Bye.